right, good afternoon. It is a little bit late today. We woke up and then we found out that it's a little bit dusty outside. So we're gonna probably stay in today, take it easy, just relaxing, and then we're gonna order food in today. So I'm just waiting for to go pick up the food right now. So before we go, I thought that we'd talk about something that a lot of you may be curious about. Let's put my camera down here. Is how we structure our retirement and how we structure our portfolio to generate us the lifestyle that we are living right now. So it's not a secret that we are living through dividends and distribution. So, but then how do we structure them to get the dividend distribution that we're looking for? So our portfolios are divided into three parts. Part one is the growth. Second part is like a kind of like a fixed income / margin, and the third one is the living expense part, which is gonna be consisting of a little bit of like a derivative ETF, like higher yields and stuff like that. But before we go in, I just wanna talk about a few things. So what's the goal? The goal is it has to generate enough cash flow. Second goal is it has to last. So there's no point, retiring early and then 2 years later I'm failing, I have run out of all the money, I have to go back to work. So that's not the goal. So what do we look for? Because we are retiring a lot earlier than traditional retirement, and also, and we also retiring a little bit differently compared to the traditional FIRE mindset, which is, investing in S&P 500, withdrawing 4% every year, so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that today. I did mention that we used a little bit of like a higher yield using derivative ETF, like a corporate call ETF. These ones generally have higher fees. You might feel that 2% fee is nothing if you're getting 10%, why does 2% fee matters? Maybe it doesn't seem to matter in the short run, but in the long run, the 2% matters a lot. So we try to pick something that has the lowest fee possible and also the longest track record possible. A lot of these funds, if you read the prospectus, which is talking about fund strategies and all these things, a lot of them are leaving it up to the fund manager discretion. So you want to know that the fund manager is making the best choice possible when the bad time comes. Because a lot of these are very new, you don't have a lot of history to go by, you don't have a lot of research done on these. So you want as long as a track record as possible, along with the lowest fee possible. It's going to be a strike combination between the two. Some might have the low fee, some might have low fee, but not as long as track record. So you kind of have to make a little bit of you kind of have to make your best judgment here a little bit. So let's go into the first part of the portfolio, which is going to be the growth part. This part is probably the simplest part. It's going to be, basically the traditional S&P 500 stuff, growth related, NASDAQ, passive ETF. Very simple, very standard. So everything from this portion is going to be reinvested for the future. So we try not to touch this part at all, just let them compound by itself. And then hopefully, in 15-20 years, this part can act as a plan B. So let's say, all else fail, this part is our, co-spire part. I guess we just let it grow and compound by itself. And then this part become our traditional retirement part per se. Not sure if that makes sense, but if it doesn't make sense, please feel free to ask me to clarify on the comment. Second part is going to be a little bit more complicated. We invest a lot of these part into the fixed income, preferred shares and stuff like that, but we'll talk more in a bit. I think the food is here, so I'm going to go grab my food and I'll come back. The food delivery system in Thailand really blew up the past few years. I think then they really made it, I think they really perfected it during COVID. It's very seamless. I'm going to go downstairs and grab my food and I'll show you. All right, we're back. We opted for Mark Wien's Pad Kapao today. Been hearing about it for a long time. Finally could try it. So I opt for the pork and 3 spice. Linda opted for 1 spice. Excited?
Excited.
Okay, let me try to open this with one hand. Okay, hold Yeah, good, flavorful. How do you like it?
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of meat in here. I'm trying to find the
Yeah,
price.
it's great.
Huh?
Got chili pieces. All right, so food is done. So I thought we'd get back to the portfolio. So I think we left off at the fixed income part. So the second part is a fixed income slash opportunity. So a little bit background. In 2023, I saw an opportunity in interest rate. So during that time, interest rate was at like a multi-year high. A lot of interest rate sensitive stock were very affected by it. They're very down. So I saw that there was a lot of like overblown fear in, let's say, office building sector, office building real estate sector, and so I kind of swoop in and buy a lot of their debt instrument. In this case, preferred shares. So at that time, they were yielding really really high because a lot of them were people were fearing that they're gonna go bust. So the on top of the high interest rate, people fearing them going bust, the price was very depressed. So I went out and buy quite a bit of them. I actually leveraged up 50% to buy a lot of these. So far, it worked out really well. Of course, this is like a more like a riskier portion because it could also go the other ways as well. But so far, it's been good. So what is preferred share? Preferred share is like in between bond, which is a debt, and stock, which is common shares. Preferred share kind of lie in between. They trade like stocks, but they behave a little bit like bond. So basically, as interest rate go up, price go down. Interest rate go down, price goes up. And then of course it also based on the characteristic of the preferred shares. There's so many different kind. I don't want to talk about them today because I think it gets a little complicated and get very dry. So I leveraged this portion up about 50% of this portion. All the payment or the dividend distribution is going to be reinvested into, no, sorry, are used for paying down the margin of this part. Um, Thankfully, in Canada, preferred shares are taxed pretty favorably, like eligible dividends. So a lot of them is taxed very, very good. So there's no tax drag on this, and I think I can write off some margin fee as well, which is good. I don't really want to tell you exactly which one I investing here. I'll say it here, but I wouldn't really recommend you buying these things because a lot of them are very timing based. So it was really good opportunity back then. Right now, maybe not as good. So do it at your own discretion. I'm just doing this as to tell you what I'm doing. Yeah, where are we? Okay. So yeah, so basically this portion is going to be used all to pay down margin debt. It's not like a forever hold or anything because interest rate comes in wave ups and down. I probably gonna once this portion hit like a $25, usually the kind of like the ceiling for these pricing. As the interest rate come down, I probably gonna reallocate these into maybe equity or whatever I see opportunity at the time. So that's it for this portion. The third portion is basically the living expense. As name suggests, everything here is going to be used for living expenses. If anything left over, we're going to use to reinvest. So this portion probably a little controversial to a lot of people. So we invested in like a derivative based ETF, cover call ETFs and all these things. They yield a little bit higher. Um, we tried like this is a portion I talk about. I try to keep the fee as low as possible. Long track record, yada yada. We try to limit the exposure to derivative from broad indexes like S&P 500, Nasdaq, big tech or anything like that. We do have some individual Tesla though, Tesla cover call fund, which is doing well, but of course it's the highest risk part because it is an individual stock. So yeah, so this part is probably going to be is the part that we extract the most income out of, and then we hope that we try to make this last as much as possible. That's why we try to limit all this factor. We try to be more flexible with our spending and all these things. So with all these three part combined, I look at them as salary. So when salary come, you invest some for retirement, for future. You put some down, put some away for car payments and debt, which is the fixed income part, and we use the rest for living expenses. So the idea here is that in Plan B, down the road, let's say 15-year, 20-year down the road, hopefully the first portion, the growth portfolio portion, the passive investing portion, gonna become bigger, and it could act as a supporting portfolio for the living expense portfolio. Think of it as like I said, the portfolio is a person, income comes in, distributed. So I don't know if that makes sense. So if it does make sense to you, please feel free to comment, ask me a question. So yeah, so that's basically it. That's the portfolio and how I structure all these things. I'm not the most well-spoken person, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask below. And yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think. Unfortunately, at this point, we don't really comfortable sharing the exact number we have. Maybe down the road, Linda might feel more open to it. We'll see. Anyways, thank you for spending your time with us today. I hope you guys have a good day. We might go out for a walk. We might take a chill day today. But yeah, I'll see you later.